Very welcome along to another video. This time we are focused on the Scottish title race and what a dramatic Wednesday night we had. We'll get into all that, what it means for Saturday in terms of results, get it through some of the stats throughout the season and the potential history on the line in Parkhead on Saturday. But if you can take 2 seconds and you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe completely for free to the channel. Let's get into it. Okay, there's no better place to start than Wednesday night, and Hearts got their job done first of all, so we can cover that nice and quickly. 3-0 against Falkirk, and in fairness to Hearts, they had a little bit of a mid to late season wobble, but in terms of results and performances, some of them anyway, they're picking them up and they've set themselves up for potentially a showdown with Celtic. If they can avoid defeat, they will of course win the league. But it got to a stage when they went 3-0 up and the full-time whistle blew. Celtic were 2-2 in Motherwell, meaning as it stood, all Hearts had to do on the final day was avoid a 3-goal defeat and they would be champions. So everything changed in the Motherwell Celtic game. So let's get to that. So Motherwell went 1-0 up. We're playing some great football. Celtic battled back, showed great character, which they have done all season under Martin O'Neill, which I'll get to. So they went 2-1 up, but then Motherwell played good football again, scored the equaliser, and watching those last 10-15 minutes, you felt that if anyone was going to score, it was probably Motherwell. Celtic maybe got a grips to it those last couple of minutes. By and large, Motherwell were playing well, playing some great football, which, as most people have said throughout the season, both Sky pundits and anybody who watches Scottish football, that Motherwell are probably the best footballing side in the league, maybe lack that bit of cutting edge. But Celtic get the last second penalty, and we'll get into that decision in just a second. But what that all means is we basically have a showdown on the final day. So it's what neutral fans want in terms of winner takes all. Celtic win, they win the league. Hearts win or draw, they win the league. So we'll get into in terms of TV, what time that game's on and all that. But quickly on the penalty, I generally try and stay away from decisions on this channel because we've seen it with the West Ham Arsenal game. I thought personally that was a slam dunk decision, yet people always find things around like, what about this, the whataboutery, in terms of comparing it to other wrong decisions and saying why was that allowed. But this one, it took me about 6 or 7 replays. They kept showing this replay. I'm watching it live. And that's usually what I go back to. What is your instinct? And my instinct was, there's nothing to see here. I didn't see the handball. I just saw a potential elbow. And I was like, oh, can't really see a penalty get given for that. But eventually, once I saw the hand in front of the head, I sort of went, oh, you might have to give this. This is what I thought live. Now, looking back on it, I think he does handball it. Therefore, you have to give a penalty. But is it a clear and obvious error for them to give a handball? Probably not. So that's where I lie in it. I hope that's not sitting on the fence too much. But do I personally think he handballs it? Yes. Looks like fairly certain it hits his wrist. Can I say categorically this is a clear and obvious error that's been missed by the referee? Probably not. But I do have sympathy for the officials because, you know, there's Gary Lineker and a lot of other people, I'm sure, have been saying it's the worst decision in VAR history. And look, VAR is deciding a lot of games. I'm personally not a fan of VAR in one sense, but you sort of need it because you've gone so far with it. Do you know what I mean? But that's where I lie on it. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Look, it's definitely, I wouldn't say split opinion. I'd say most people are saying he just heads the ball, which he does. But whether his hand is like, look, to start with, his hand should be nowhere near where it is. And I think someone on Sky said his hand was there because, you know, he was basically elbowing the other Celtic player. And then as he brought his hand back, that's natural. And I was there going, well, he was elbowing him, so he shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Anyway, it's a mess. Very strong reactions to it based on some decisions in recent weeks. But I thought the Sky coverage was interesting to say the least. Chris Boyd in particular, who's always an interesting listen, let's just say that, wasn't happy and kept referencing other decisions. To be honest with you, it was great telly. I was laughing away, enjoying every bit of it. But look, what it does give us, so that's where I stand, and I don't think it was a monumental error, but if I was the VAR official personally, I wouldn't have got the referee's attentions to that. What that all means for us, though, and we'll get into the terms of the final day, but maybe on the Scottish title race itself. So like 5 or 6 weeks ago, Celtic were finished, not just in terms of results, but of performances. The Martin O'Neill train seemed to have run out of steam, and it just felt we were going to Hearts gonna like crawl over the line. Maybe Rangers might give them a run, but the unbelievable run Celtic have had, late goals, Martin O'Neill's, even the way he talks in interviews, it's just brilliant. The way he's used Iheanacho, and by the way, I should mention what a cool finish from him under that pressure. I mean, it felt like the whole world was watching by the time that decision was given, and everyone had flicked over to Sky Plus to see the last couple of seconds. And what a cool customer! And he's come up with so many late goals for a guy who doesn't seem fit at all. As Chris Boyd said, doesn't feel like he can play 30 minutes. Yeah, he is so crucial to this title run, and he scored so many goals, and Celtic have exactly what they want. And Conor McGregor's interview before I go on to the title race was so telling. I thought he was like, okay, look, let's make sure we don't lose this, and we'll just have to beat them in a shootout and win by 3 goals. But now we have that win. All we need to do is win our final home game. And it felt like they were going to do it versus the Hearts reaction, which was, I guess, understandable devastation. But flicking back over to Tynecastle, it felt like they'd lost the league. They were doing their lap of honour when the Celtic goal went in, but just the reaction and all that, it just felt that they potentially lost the league. But I'll get into all that in a second. But Martin O'Neill has done an incredible job, whatever happens, to have this Celtic team, who, speaking to a lot of Celtic fans, say this is a very poor Celtic side versus previous years, even compared to last year's team that ran Bayern Munich of all teams very close. They've done unbelievable to hang in there. Rangers have fallen off. Rangers lost to Hearts and Celtic in consecutive games, and that basically did the title for them, and they're going to finish a long distance third. So we'll just get up the table to show you where we stand heading into the final day. So you can see the table there, and Hearts are on 80 points, and you can see the recent run of form that I've been talking about. Celtic and Hearts have managed to put together those wins. It sets us up for that final day showdown, which is live on Sky Sports, 12:30 kickoff. Do not miss it. 11:30 coverage. And I think the big thing for Scottish football is whoever came up with having this as their final day must have seen the calendar on the Saturday, because of the FA Cup final and the brilliant stuff from the Premier League. No Premier League games are taking place on Saturday. There's a game on Friday night, and all the games are on Sunday. So the 3 o'clock kickoffs from Saturday have been moved to Sunday. So Chelsea versus Manchester City at Wembley is 3 o'clock on Saturday. But that means there's essentially a free spot in the football calendar, 12:30 Saturday. So all eyes would have been on Scottish football on the final day, irrespective of if there was anything to play for, even just a title lift. Whereas now we have an actual shootout for the title. It's Celtic versus Hearts. You can see the split. There's the top 6 on screen there. Now, Rangers, I mentioned, fell away. You see Motherwell there on 58. They've fallen away over the last few weeks, which has been a disappointing end to what was a brilliant season overall. And I felt at one stage they were in last time we checked in here, they were very much in the title race, or at least going to influence it. And you can see how they've influenced it, taking points off Hearts. Should have really taken points off Celtic last night. So that's where we're at heading to the final day. There's no more 3-goal cushions here for Hearts to defend. It is very much you avoid defeat, will win the game. And Derek McGuinness actually said himself, well, you never go into a game to draw it. So it felt like, and I touched on this already, but it felt like the stuff coming out of Hearts, we're still talking about the Celtic decision rather than going, we'd have bitten your hand off for this. The old Mick McCarthy saying, we'd have bitten your hand off for a draw. We'd have bitten your hand off to go to Celtic Park and avoid defeat to win the title. But there was very much people still obsessed with the decision of Celtic rather than in Hearts going, right, look, this has gone to the final day. We're in a great position. Look, it's a natural human reaction. You think you're going to win the league effectively and almost lift it in Edinburgh, anything but like a 3-goal defeat is still plausible. Do you know what I mean? So obviously a lot has changed, don't get me wrong, but it's just, I think we went from like the scenes with the Celtic fans at the end celebrating, and by the way, that Celtic away support is off the charts. I mean, the fans that had the flares ready to go but waited for the penalty, fair play. So that you go from that jubilant scenes to Tynecastle, which is the team top of the league, and the silence was incredible. So from Sky Plus, for anyone watching on there, and I presume Sky Football went to the Celtic game, but it changed back and it was just silence. It was like a funeral at Hearts. So it is going to be tough for them to pick themselves up, because it isn't just like, a full week of prep. It is Wednesday night to Saturday lunchtime. This is ordinarily too small a gap, but because both sides are involved, it makes no odds in theory. But I feel Hearts are definitely going to be affected, and that first 10-15 minutes in Parkhead on Saturday is going to be absolutely massive. The atmosphere is going to be off the charts. I know Celtic fans going over there, very jealous, very much looking forward to watching this. I mentioned it, 12:30 on Sky. I'll just get into stats now in terms of the title before we finish off, but I did mention at the top of the show, if you can take 2 seconds, hit that like button, and you're enjoying the content, helps me continue making the content. But over 90% of people who watch my videos actually aren't subscribed, so it makes a massive difference to the channel. If you can subscribe completely for free and help me continue making these videos, be much appreciated. But the final day, I mean, Celtic can go and continue their amazing run of titles. Hearts can be first team outside of Celtic or Rangers to win the title since 1985. Alex Ferguson was managing Aberdeen. He hadn't gone near the Manchester United job. He won a title with Aberdeen, the last manager to do it outside of Rangers. Celtic. It is incredible. The second stat is Hearts haven't won the league since 1960, which sounds a long time ago, but it is actually 66 years ago. It's even more longer than you think, because the 60s you always assume it's 40 years or maybe 50 years, but it is 66 years since Hearts won a title. So there's so much on the line. Tony Bloom has come in, and I don't think he would have been ready. They brought in a few players, all right, but they're definitely ahead of schedule in terms of where he wants to be. But you may not get another chance at a title like this. I mean, Celtic have not had their act together for the whole season. Rangers the same, in fairness. So you expect both those sides. Look at the points tallies there, 80, 79. So the highest any team can finish is 83. You're expecting a 90-plus point season again from Rangers or Celtic. More likely Celtic, maybe, if they get their act together and pick the right manager, because Martin O'Neill realistically is going to the end of the season. So this could be the one and only chance Hearts get. Now, I think Hearts will get better and better, yes, but you know, it is tough after a season like this if you don't manage to get over the line to pick yourself up and go again. We've seen that maybe with Arsenal. The second time they did it, they had a complete lull, and obviously you're potentially going for a title again. There's so much on the line. There is so much on the line, and my instinct is based on that Wednesday night reaction, because that doesn't happen in isolation. It's not a case that happened, let's park it. It is so hard to do, particularly with the effectively 2-day turnaround before Parkhead. Parkhead is going to be rocking. I mean, I don't think Celtic fans have witnessed anything. And an important line that McGregor said before I finished off, he said, "I've seen big goals for Celtic, but none as big as Iheanacho's penalty there." And I thought that was very telling. Like, for all the years they've won titles, I guess the more I thought about what he said, he's probably right. Like, this goal meant we get it to the final eight, we beat them at home, we win the league. And that's what McGregor said, and I was just captivated by that. I feel it could be the difference. But let me know your predictions in the comments. Who is going to win the Scottish Premiership title? Who do you want to win? Because I understand as a neutral, people want Hearts to win, but obviously from the Irish perspective, the majority of us, I assume, would want Celtic to win and, you know, continue that run, and to win it in dramatic fashion like this for Martin O'Neill as well. There's a lot of love for Martin O'Neill with Ireland and the job he did with Ireland right up to the Euros. But even going back to that first spell at Celtic, you know, it just feels like he's home, in his rightful home. He spoke brilliantly, I even thought, after the game. Like, everyone had said it wasn't a penalty, and he just comes on going, well, he puts his hand up, it's a clear handball. So I love that. I love Martin O'Neill and his interviews this season, and can he get this Celtic team over the line? There's so much in this. I thought I had to jump on. Hope you enjoyed it. For people that are Celtic fans, hope you got a small bit out of that, but mainly for people who have been sort of in and out of the Scottish Premiership, whatever you do, 12:30 live on Sky Sports, you have to watch this Celtic versus Hearts, and I'm thinking this is going to be an atmosphere off the charts beyond any Celtic Rangers game. Honestly, this is like a win. You win the title against your title rivals. I don't think it gets better. So let me know who you think is going to win. I might jump on Sunday or maybe Monday and talk about it, depending how it goes. But let me know your thoughts. Enjoy the game itself. If you're heading over, very jealous. But chat to you next week.